In this lesson, I want to implement the swapping of blocks, but I'm not going to allow the user to do it just yet. I want us to be able to do it from here and then to have the case where the swapping gets reversed. When would a swapping get reversed? For example, if I move this one down here, we would get a chain. So then it wouldn't be reversed. We would get a chain, blocks would get destroyed, and this would get updated. But imagine that I move this purple block up in here, and then there are no chains, so the swapping will then be reversed. Just like it animated up here, then will animate back, and then all the selection will be clear. So then you can try again. So let's create this swap blocks method in game.js. It receives two blocks, block 1 and block 2. And it will define a movement. So the movement will be the movement of, there will be a block 1 movement and block 2 movement. So both candies move at the same time. This one moves to the right and this one moves to the left, and so forth. So let's call it block 1 movement. And then we'll have block 2 movement. So this dot game dot add dot twin block 1 movement until where it's gonna move. It's gonna move to the X that corresponds to block 2. So it's moving to the other guy's place. And the same thing for Y. How long is this gonna take? It's gonna take the animation time that we've defined. So let's start this and see if it works. So for example, let me do it from here. Let me get that block 1 will be this dot blocks dot children position 10, and then block 2 will be position 11, and then we'll call this dot swap blocks, block 1 and block 2. So far it's only block 1 that should move. So as you can see, the block moved there, and the other block should move the other way around. So just like we had this one, then we also should have this one here. So this is the complete opposite, and block 2 and block 2. So let's see it in action. So now they're both changed. So what happens when this completes? And I'll add this code in just one of them because there's no point in adding it twice. So onComplete dot add function, whole function, and what will happen then? We update the model. So after the animation, we update the model. This dot board dot swap block 1 and block 2. Swap is a method that we've had in our board from almost the beginning, and the two parameters that you pass in here need to have col and row, and our blocks have a row and col, so this will just simply work. So we pass that to the model. Also, we need to check. So let's assume that we're not reversing yet. So if we're not reversing, we would want to see if there's any chains. So are there any chains? This dot board dot find all chains. Dot update. So let's see if, well, in this case we don't have that yet. It's not called update. It's called update grid. So So now after the swapping, there's a check to see if that produced, to see if there's any chain. But in reality, there wouldn't be chains at the start, because there's something that also we're going to change, that we're not going to allow chains at the start. So we're on the good track. If there are no chains, we need to reverse the swapping. So this dot is reversing swap will be true, and we will swap them back. In this case, it will be block 1 and block 2, and at the beginning of this part, we should be checking for swapping. So after we swap them in the board, we only carry out this check if they're not being reversed. So let's put that here, and in here we'll put an else, and we'll put in this dot is, so we're no longer reversing now. So let's see now. See how now, well, we still get the positives because we are having this dot swap blocks. So the thing is, we shouldn't have changed at the start of the game. We shouldn't have changed. Oh, there you saw there we saw the reversing. We shouldn't have changed at the start of the game. And the way for us to force that, which is something I didn't want to do before because it would make things more complicated, but it's time that where I have to add this code that's always been meant to be added at one point, is that we can only have the population completed if there's no change. So so if there are any chains, repopulate basically. So chains equals this dot find all chains, and then if chains dot length greater than 0, then this dot populate grid. So we're calling this over and over and over until there's no chains. So now we're only getting chains when this swapping actually makes one, but otherwise we're not getting. Otherwise we're not getting any chains. So we got a chain in there, and there are obviously more things that we need to do, but that's a good start for this part. So to summarize, we've added a method to swap different blocks, and it's basically an animation. And when that animation completes, we update the model. And after we update the model, we check for whether we're reversing or not. If we are reversing, we say that we're no longer reversing. If we aren't reversing, on the other hand, then we check for chains. And if there are any, we have to update everything. And if they're not, then we set that we are actually reversing, and we swap the blocks back to the original places. Also, I've added something in the populate grid method so that if there shouldn't be any change when you start the game. You should be the one that has to make them. There shouldn't be at the beginning. So now this is making sure that happens.